Happy Thursday, everybody. Welcome into another Fantasy Football Today live stream. Surprise. No Adam Azer today. I am Frank Sanford, joined by Dave Richard and Chris Towers. We're here for the next hour or so answering your start-sit questions. We'll talk about some Thursday Night Football. Desmond Ridder to start coming out of the bye next week, so we could talk a little bit about that as well. We were talking beforehand, guys, and you were telling me about some kind of crazy dynasty showdown. So I don't know who wants to kind of just grab the...
I'll explain it. So it's the YOLO Dynasty IDP League that Heath Cummings has commissioned. Dave, you've won once, right?
I have won once.
Dave won once. I've won twice. I'm the defending champion, and Dave and I are playing in week 14. It's a league where I think it's a 14-team league where there's one playoff bye spot up for grabs for week 15. And entering this game, I am 12-1, and Dave is 12-1.
Ooh.
I have an 11-point lead for the season. I've won 12 straight games, and Dave has won 11 straight games. And it's pretty huge stakes because obviously only one bye week. If let's say one of us is going to go 12-2, and one of us is going to have to play in the first round of the playoffs and, potentially lose in that first round of the playoffs. I mean, hopefully not. I'd love to see both of us make the championship, but those are the stakes. So incredibly high stakes going in. And looking at the scoring preview, I've got a nice, healthy projected lead. I'm projected to score 172 to 154 for Dave's Not Safe for Work team name. It's a real contrast in styles. Dave's first in defensive scoring, third in QB scoring. I'm ninth in QB scoring, 12th in defensive scoring, but I'm first in running back and wide receiver. So I'm excited. I'm a little nervous. I've won, like I said, twice in this league. I would love to win a third time, especially because
back-to-back.
My team is very much like we might not be good in 2023. We've got Austin Eckler, Derrick Henry, Devontae Adams, Stephon Diggs, Tyler Lockett. Like, this is a team that most dynasty experts would probably have said I should have sold 2 years ago. We lost Dave.
We lost Dave. I was about to ask Dave for his best Macho Man style promo talk smack towards Chris, and then he just disappears out of nowhere. So we'll see. We'll get Dave back in here and see where his confidence level is at going into that showdown with Chris. But man, stakes do not get much higher than that. And I believe we do have Dave. Dave, you're here. You're back. Where's your confidence level in this dynasty matchup?
My internet connection is just like my team name in this league. My confidence level is low because it doesn't look like Chris is missing anybody because of the bye weeks. I am missing at least 2 quality starters from my squad. And so I'm forced to start, for example, Cam Akers is in my starting lineup against Chris this week. Not that I hate Cam Akers, but would I prefer to start him? No. I'd rather start a bunch of other players, but I don't have those players. It's going to come down to, we both have a bunch of superstars. It comes down to my superstars outperforming his. I do not feel good about my chances of my superstars outperforming that Fab Five that he has of Eckler, Henry, Adams, Diggs, and Lockett. So Chris will probably win. Chris will get the number 1 seed. And if I lose this game so that I can win my next game against Chris, maybe 3 weeks from now, I'll be good with that.
All right. Well, as you mentioned, you got some players on a bye. We've got 6 teams on a bye here in week 14.
Ridiculous.
Crazy stuff, man.
Does the NFL not even care about
I
fantasy
will say,
public?
If you look at the teams that are on bye, if we had to have 6 teams on bye, you could have there are worse teams you could have had on bye.
Yes.
In week 14.
This is not a good take, though, Chris.
We're really not going to I'm just saying, look, I've got one league where I have David Montgomery, Alvin Kamara, and Antonio Gibson as basically my only running backs. So it's working out especially poorly for me. But it's not like those guys were so good. We're missing some big names, but at least it's not the Chiefs. At least it's not the Buccaneers.
So it is a rough week.
That's all I'm saying.
we've got the 6 teams on a bye. I guess they could have been worse, but man, Jonathan Taylor, Aaron Jones, David Montgomery, not like Alvin Kamara has done much anyway lately, but yeah, we will we'll get into all your questions here coming up. Just wanted to quickly mention some practice reports that I've seen so far. Did not practice on Thursday. Nico Collins, Brandon Cooks, and Trevor Lawrence. Players who did practice include Kadarius Toney, Corey Davis, and Josh Jacobs is expected to play here on Thursday Night Football. I don't know that we need an extensive preview of this game. I think it's pretty much start your studs on the Raiders. You've got Jacobs, you've got Devontae Adams, potentially Derek Carr if you need a quarterback, obviously.
Yeah, Jacobs,
side, if you're
Jacobs and Adams are the only players in my top 75 in my flex rankings in this game. So tells you how I feel about everyone else. I am starting Matt Collins in one league. I'm starting Cam Akers in a couple leagues, but like I'm not excited about any of them.
So the Rams, especially, it's like Cam Akers if you're desperate, as Dave is, as many people are here, 6 teams on a bye. But yeah, let's just jump in and get to some of these questions here. And we will start off with Jesse. Hey guys, no pressure. If I win, I am in. Full PPR, need a running back and a flex. All right, we've got Tennessee, 10 Harris. Am I missing something there? I don't know.
You don't know who Tennessee Harris is?
No, I have no idea. Maybe I guess that's
Damian Harris.
I think he's asking for a running
Najee
back,
Harris.
a flex, and a tight end.
right.
Jesse doesn't use the space bar very well. So
Yeah.
Najee Harris, Bam Knight, Damian Pierce, Leonard Fournette, Tyler Higbee, Hunter Henry.
All right, so let's go RB and flex first. We got Najee Harris, Bam Knight, Damian Pierce, Leonard Fournette. 2 of those.
Knight is my pick at running back. And that's a change in my rankings. I had Harris ranked highly. I couldn't defend it. I have absolutely no idea why I had Najee Harris as a top 20 running back. He is no longer. Zonovan Knight is. Full PPR. I believe I will take Pierce ahead of Harris. Close call between Pierce and Fournette. I actually want to go back and check my rankings to see if that's how I feel about it. I do have Fournette over Harris and over Pierce. Put me down for Knight and Fournette.
I would go with Harris and Knight in this one, but they're all in the like 15 to 23 range. So that's a big clump. And that includes Rashad White's in that same range. That includes Michael Carter's a little behind them. It includes Jeff Wilson. So,
sure.
You know, this is a week at running back where you're probably going to end up starting someone that you don't feel good about. And, you know, you're just going to have to live with that.
And now I feel like we're spinning a bottle with the tight end because you've got one guy that barely does anything and another guy that plays a lot and has done something, but really doesn't do anything either. And one's playing tonight. This is where I would defer to the matchup. And, you know, technically both have a good matchup, but Hunter Henry's got a really good matchup. And if there's no Jacoby Myers for the Patriots, Henry could end up stepping up and seeing more targets just in general, no matter who they were playing. Just so happens to be a great matchup for him against Arizona. They've allowed a ton of points to tight ends. So I'm willing to take that chance and bet on the matchup with Hunter Hurst Henry over Tyler Higbee.
I do have Higbee ranked higher, but I don't feel any amount of confidence in it. So that's fine. It really, like you said, it's a flip the coin, spin the bottle, whatever, you know, idiom you want to choose. Yeah, spin the coin.
11 or more half PPR points to a tight end allowed in 4 of the past 6 games for Arizona.
Yeah.
That's been an ongoing multi-year issue for them. They're consistently one of the worst against tight ends. So I think that's fine.
Yeah, I would go Hunter Henry as well. I do think it's super close. The route participation for Tyler Higbee has been trending down as well.
Yes, he's been blocking more.
Yeah, don't really feel great about that one.
And a lot of his routes, by the way, are chip blocks. So he'll chip a defender on his way out to catch a 2-yard pass.
Yeah, which again, like it's taking you longer to get into your route, and the offensive line is completely depleted. The quarterback play is terrible, so it's bad all around for Tyler Higbee right now.
Right.
This one's from Jasper. They need a tight end. Austin Hooper, Dawson Knox, Mike Gesicki, Tyler Conklin.
Oh, good. A much better tight end question than the one that we just answered.
Chris,
you got it lean?
I think I have Dawson Knox ranked higher, but none of them feel good. I think Gesicki has 2 targets over his past 2 games. There's really no role there for him. So it's either Knox or Conklin, but I'm leaning Knox.
I've got Conklin a spot higher than Knox. I feel like Knox is Buffalo's version of Tyler Higbee. I would not be opposed to dropping one of these guys and going to get Hunter Henry and playing in the matchup with him. Again, all these tight ends have something in common. They're all touchdown or bust, or they're all – that's really it. None of these guys are getting 7 targets a game. Not that Hunter Henry is either, but at least Hunter Henry, he's a touchdown or bust tight end that's got a favorable matchup. Now, the one thing I'll say about Conklin is that Milano might not play for Buffalo, and that's been something that's helped tight ends in the past. Is when he's been out, they get more work. Favorable matchup for them against the Bills.
All right, let's move on to Brian, who has a non-PPR question. Cam Akers, Rachaad White, or Leonard Fournette? So let's start with that one.
I'm going with Akers.
In non-PPR, I'm still going with Leonard Fournette.
Yeah, I think I lean that way too with Leonard Fournette, but they're all within 6-7 spots of each other in the rankings right now.
Sure.
Christian Kirk or Garrett Wilson, again, non-PPR.
That's really tough. I think I have them back-to-back in my rankings. I have Christian Kirk 16, Garrett Wilson 17. I really like both of them. Happy to start either, but I would go with Christian Kirk.
I would too. It'll help if he's got Trevor Lawrence, though.
Yes.
And Lawrence, as you mentioned, Frank, did not practice on Thursday.
Yep.
It's an easy decision if there's no Trevor Lawrence come Sunday.
And lastly, we got a defense question here. The Ravens or the 49ers? Ravens going up against the Steelers, 49ers up against the Bucs.
I'll take the Niners.
I would go with the Niners.
All right, let's see what else we got here. Mostly fly fishing. QB rest of season. Jared Goff or Mike White? I have Lamar Jackson and Justin Fields. Lamar Jackson dealing with the knee injury and Justin Fields on bye this week. What do you think, Jared Goff or Mike White?
So is this a rest of season deal because he's in a super flex league? Because that's the only thing I can think of, because you'll start Fields the rest of the way until Lamar comes back, and then you've got a real problem on your hands. I love the schedule for Mike White after this week.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think I'm going to lean there. I know that Goff has been playing well, not just the last 2 weeks, but really over his past 4 games. He's played a little bit better, and that receiving core is getting healthier. His matchups are pretty good too, though, Chris. Listen to this. Vikings, Jets, Panthers, Bears. I think White will throw more. I'm going to lean toward White over Goff rest of season, but I definitely like Goff better this week.
Yep, I think this week is the most important one. And I think that's the way you should look at it in general. Like, even if you're making the decision rest of season, you still have to win. And so if a guy, if one guy has 3 really good matchups from weeks 15 through 17, but the other guy's got a much better matchup in week 14, and you need to win week 14 is the one that matters. You don't get to week 17 unless you win in week 14, right? So it's the kind of thing where every successive week should matter a lot less in your thinking, and especially when you're talking about, making a choice between someone you have to start this week. If you're talking about someone to stash, that's different. But when you're making your start decisions, nothing last game of the season can't hold anything back now, right? That's what we're talking about, basically.
Yeah. No, I think that makes sense. And be like Cousin Ernest. Hit that like button. We have over 100 people watching right now. Only 19 likes on YouTube. If we get to 100 likes, we'll give away a free month of Paramount Plus. So again, if you're here watching us live, thank you for coming hang out. And please hit the like button. Correct. Appreciate that as well. Welcome back to Chris. Yes, welcome back indeed, Chris. How you feeling? How's everything going, man?
I'm good. Had a little health scare around Thanksgiving. It was weird to take a week off of work during the football season. That's the first time that's happened in 12 years. But I'm feeling good, feeling refreshed, back at it, ready to help us win some championships.
Yeah, man, that's what it's about. Let's finish the season strong here. We got 2 questions from Andrea. Need 2. Devontae Smith, Hollywood Brown, Josh Palmer, PPR. Now, I was updating my rankings just before we started. I think all of these guys are between 20 and 24 in the rankings. That is super close. What do you guys think?
I like Smith the best of the 3. And then I'd start Palmer over Brown if there's no Mike Williams.
Yep.
It's Brown over Palmer if there is Mike Williams.
That's what it comes down to for me, is whether Mike Williams plays. I assume if he plays, it's going to be at 100%. Given the setback that he's already suffered, they're not going to put him out there unless he's 100%. So yeah, I would go with Palmer if Williams is out, Brown if he's not. But I think Smith is the clear number 1 here.
The only pushback I'll give you on the whole idea of Mike Williams playing at less than 100% is that this is a game the Chargers have to have.
Sure, yeah.
They're 6-6. They got to keep hopes alive of getting one of the wild card spots.
And, as a Jets fan, I don't know what I'm supposed to be rooting for in this game, but I think I'm going to root for the Dolphins because if the Chargers lose, it's more likely the Jets can get a wild card spot. So
the Jets probably aren't going to win the division.
No.
So you're rooting for the wild card spot. Yeah, so you want less competition there.
Right. The Jets currently are the number 7 seed if the season ended today. So number 1, you need the Jets to keep winning. I might actually root for the Chargers. They're 2 games back. The Dolphins are a game up. You could jump the Dolphins to get into that 6th spot. And then you can start maybe even making plans to work on getting into the 5 seed as far as the wild card goes. So I think I'd go the other way. I think I'd root for the Chargers to win.
How about this? Week 18, Jets versus Dolphins. That could be a huge game.
Could be a playoff game.
Yeah, that's is a
amazing.
massive game down the stretch. I actually have tickets to Thursday Night Football, Jets and Jaguars, so I'm pretty excited about that one.
Where is that game in Week 18?
Don't they all play at the same time now? Isn't that the thing?
I think that game is going to be in Miami. I think they're.
Yeah, it is in Miami.
Yeah.
Yes. No, and you know what they do for Week 18, Chris? They always
they have the big game at
They settle the schedule the week before. They put all the games that don't have major implications first.
Yeah.
And then certainly the games that have implications involving teams playing in other games, they go at the same time. So that if one team wins, then they can't bench their players. The NFL doesn't want the teams to bench their players as much as possible. But yeah, that Jets-Dolphins game could end up being the Sunday night game. I think they call it game 256 or something like that, the very last game of the year. And if it's in Miami, I might be interested in going to that. That could be a fun one.
All right.
How weird is it going to be to have 11 games on Saturday in week 16, huh?
11 on Saturday. Oh, my.
Christmas Eve.
Christmas Eve. They got to get the games in before Christmas Day.
Yeah. All right. Jeez. I know we usually get a few, but it makes sense with Christmas Eve. One more question here from Andrea. Rashad White or Zonovan Knight? I think we answered this one earlier as well, but PPR, what do you guys think?
Zonovan.
Yeah, Zonovan just a little ahead.
All right. This one's from Matt. Should I start Jared Goff or Kirk Cousins? They're going up against each other this week. Close spread. The Lions are 2-point favorites. Kind of surprising with a 52-point total inside of the dome there in Ford Field. What are you guys thinking?
I think that's the second highest over under of the week.
Might be the first.
I think it might be the highest, actually.
Yeah.
Is it? Yep. Just a half a point ahead of the Dolphins Jets or Dolphins Chargers.
What do you guys think, Goff or Cousins?
I think I have Goff slightly ahead. Let me make sure.
Ooh.
I've got Cousins a spot ahead.
I've got Cousins a spot ahead. Yep.
But are they both in your top 10, Chris?
No, they are 12 and 13.
Okay. Interesting. I'd love to know.
That's sort of Trevor Lawrence, if he plays, would be ahead of them. I've got Derek Carr just a little bit ahead of them, but all in that same range.
I've got Carr behind them. I like Cousins and Goff better. I think that could be a solid, high-scoring game. Love Cousins' track record against Detroit. Certainly love him in Detroit, especially. And I feel like Cousins has a better shot at a 3-touchdown game than Goff.
All right, this next one is from Joshua. Help, half PPR, start 2 wide receivers and a flex. We've got, I was about to say Alejandro Kirk, man. My brain is going into baseball mode right now, so I've got to keep it.
I would have looked at you so weird because I don't even know who
Alejandro Kirk's is. Great. Think of a baseball player with the exact same body as me.
Yeah.
Except he's like the best hitting catcher in baseball. It's okay.
Awesome. And he's got to be in the National League because I've never heard of him.
No, he's in American League.
Yeah, he's on the Toronto Blue Jays. So
weird.
Yeah, he's like
I'm sorry,
5'8", 250. I love it.
Yeah, Chris may or may not refer to him as a big beefy baseball boy. But,
yes, he is a big beefy baseball boy.
Save that for another day. Christian Kirk, Jalen Waddle, Garrett Wilson, and let's start with the wide receivers there. Let's start 2 of those: Christian Kirk, Waddle, Garrett Wilson.
I have Waddle ranked just behind them, but that's mostly because of concerns about the injury.
Same. Kirk and Wilson for me.
All right, and then we have a flex half PPR again. That would be Waddle, Jamal Williams. He's already starting DeAndre Swift and Bam Knight.
Yeah, I think this is why I'm glad I didn't start Waddle before. Now I can use him in my flex.
I think that's the way I would go as well. Yes.
Yeah.
All right, let's see here. This one's from Elliot. Start for this week, full PPR, Mike Evans or George Pickens?
Definitely going with Evans.
Same.
George Pickens is like as bad as Mike Evans has been, George Pickens is a poor man's Mike Evans at this point.
Mm-hmm. And then half PPR, this is probably a different league, but Daniel Bellinger or Tyler Conklin?
Oh, good. More tight end fun. Conklin over Bellinger, Hunter Henry over both.
I do have, I would go with both of those, but Bellinger's really interesting because he came back from the fractured orbital socket and played like 95% of the snaps last week. So there's definitely an opportunity for him there.
Yeah. As for Pickens, he has 6 or fewer targets in 7 straight games. 2 of 6 games he's scored in are the only ones he's had more than 10 PPR points. Deion Johnson's been seeing more playing time. Difficult matchup against Baltimore. Low snap rate last week for him. I'm not trying to use Pickens this week. Keep him on the bench.
From Paolo, Jeff Wilson or Latavius Murray in non-PPR. Dave, we were talking beforehand. You said the most spirited discussion of the season about Latavius Murray earlier today on the podcast.
It was actually on the live show, but we might have one on the podcast tomorrow too, since Jamie and Heath are very, very vocal about Latavius Murray. Not that they love him, but they like him more than I do. He's outside of my top 28 at running back. Really don't want to use him. I will use Jeff Wilson over Latavius Murray, who I suspect is going to continue to lose playing time as he did last week with Mike Boone coming back.
Yeah, I've got Jeff Wilson ahead of Latavius Murray. I would think in talking to Heath yesterday on FFT and 5, it sounded like he was not super low on Jeff Wilson. So I wouldn't be surprised if he liked Wilson ahead of Murray as well.
Sure. Yeah. Hey, can you guys excuse me for a few minutes?
Sure.
No.
It's about to get really messy in here. All right, I'll be right back.
All right. Oh, jeez. Let's make some predictions on what Dave Richard ate for lunch and or breakfast. Let us know in the chat what you think. This one's from Brian, non-PPR. Oh, I think we answered this one.
Hey, we got this one. Yeah, I went with Fournette and Kirk just ahead of Wilson, and then the 49ers DST.
All right, this one's from Lisa, non-PPR, Travis Etienne or Jeff Wilson?
Travis Etienne. Yeah.
From Kofi, Jerry Jeudy or George Pickens for wide receiver 2?
I would go with Jeudy. Hopefully, he got 4 targets on 22 snaps or something last week, so hopefully the snap share continues to go up. Cortland Sutton almost certainly not going to play this week. We might actually see Albert Okwekwenum. I had forgotten how to say that name. That was one of the ones I put in a lot of work in this offseason for no reason, as it turns out. And yeah, they're pretty desperate. So I think Judy's gonna be a big part of their game plan.
From Roberto, full PPR flex, George Pickens or James Cook? Wow, lots of George Pickens questions early on here.
I think I would go with Cook, but I do have Pickens ranked higher in PPR, so I would go with him.
From Flex Fitness 1000, Gus Edwards, DJ Chark, Kyron Williams, or Cam Akers? Need a flex.
I would go with Akers here. Yeah,
I think so too. Coming off a big game with lots of touches in that one.
It's so gross though, because yes, it was a big game. It was 18 PPR points, 19 PPR points, but it was 60 yards on 17 carries, and he just happened to get 2 touchdowns plus his 1 catch for 0 yards, which was his first catch since week 2. Yeah, it's gross. 60 yards on 17 carries feels like Cam Akers' ceiling at this point, which is just sad.
Yeah, and
hey, we haven't mentioned it yet. Baker Mayfield might start tonight for the Rams, which is just they signed him on waivers 2 days ago, and he might start and be throwing to Tutu Atwell and Brandon Powell and Van Jefferson. It's just,
gosh,
this is a good indication of what happens when you go with a super, super top heavy team and everything goes wrong like it has for the Rams.
Yeah, I don't know if this is a hot take, but the Rams might be better off with John Wolford at quarterback than they are with Baker Mayfield.
I don't know. Look, I'm the guy who thought that Baker Mayfield was going to be a clear upgrade for the Panthers this year, so
same.
I can't say anything really.
Yeah, tell all my DJ Moore shares what we thought about Baker Mayfield coming into the season. Let's just reset again, once again, here on a Thursday around for the next probably 30, 35 minutes answering your fantasy football questions. Thursday Night Football tonight. We've got the Raiders going up against the Rams. We've got over 200 people watching right now live, only 52 likes. So help us out. Hit that.
Come on, hit that like button.
Yeah, let's do
this
it.
Guy.
If we get to 100 likes, then we will give away a free month of Paramount Plus. Shout out to Shafy T. We do have a poll on YouTube as well. Favorite American action hero. The wording here is very interesting. I'll get into it in a second. John McClane from Die Hard. Indiana Jones, straightforward. John Rambo, straightforward. Harry Callahan from Dirty Harry. Now, this is interesting, Chris, because it's his favorite American action hero.
Yeah.
I don't know why it doesn't say like favorite Christmas movie star if John McClane is part of it. It's weird.
Well, for one, I think the answer to the question is Indiana Jones. I think it's Henry Jones. Look, I love Die Hard. Love what was the other ones? Dirty Harry. I don't really care for. I don't. Clint Eastwood does nothing for me. It's a me thing. It's nothing personal. But and John Rambo. I don't. Yeah, those movies don't do anything for me either. So Indiana Jones, the best series of those movies, I think, and it's Harrison Ford. Like he is the iconic action star, right? Like Han Solo, Indiana Jones, the president in Air Force One, the titular fugitive from The Fugitive. You can't do much better than Harrison.
Don't forget about Blade Runner.
Yeah, I've never seen that one, but Blade Runner from Blade Runner. That's his name, right?
Make some time for it. Yeah.
But look, another one we didn't mention that you get with your free month of Paramount Plus, if we get to 100 likes, is our guy Maverick. That's going to be streaming on Paramount Plus in a couple weeks. Best movie of the year, maybe.
I keep hearing so many great things.
It's so much fun.
I haven't seen the first Top Gun, so I've got to.
You don't have to. That's the great thing. Is it just like it glances back at it and it's like, hey, you know these people, but like they introduced Jennifer Connelly. She's not in the original movie, and you're like, I don't even remember if she's in the original movie. She's great.
I'd like to watch the first one before I see Top Gun Maverick. Fun fact: I've never seen a single Indiana Jones movie. That should not surprise.
Oh my god,
anybody. Dave, who'd you vote for here? John McClane, Indiana Jones, John Rambo, Harry Callahan.
I think I almost want to vote for McClane just for nostalgia's sake and for the fact that movie and that whole series of movies was probably my favorite when I was younger. So that's what I'm going to do. John McClane gets my vote.
I did vote for John McClane, but again, the wording of the poll is just a little weird. So I don't know. I'll have to talk to Shafy after this one. Let's see what we got going on here from Raphael. Welcome back, Chris. Looking good indeed. Need help, QB starter. I'm in the playoffs, but need to boot my arch nemesis out of the playoffs. Start Russell Wilson or Tyler Huntley.
I'm going with Tyler Huntley there.
I am too. I'm not excited about it. I don't think he's going to be particularly good, but Russ hasn't been particularly good all year. Now he's going to break out. Now
he's got what, 8 touchdowns? I mean, it would be pretty funny if like he went on a crazy run here at the end of the season and had like 12 touchdowns in the final 4 games and made his overall numbers look still pretty bad, but better. But I'm not expecting that.
How many games does Russell Wilson have with multiple touchdowns this season?
It's only 1, right?
Uno.
I think it's the only one against the
Ravens. He had 1 with a rushing touchdown as well.
Yep, that was it. This one's from Mark. Pick 2, full PPR. Damian Pierce, James Cook, Devin Singletary, and DJ Dallas. The Seahawks running back situation is still up in the air. I don't think Kenneth Walker is going to play, but DJ Dallas isn't practicing. Travis Homer has been limited in practice. They also have Tony Jones. So
DJ Dallas has a high ankle injury. It'd be shocking if he plays. Like it's Pete Carroll, and so when he talked about it, he was like, "Yeah, he might play. He might be perfectly healthy." But that's because Pete Carroll lies. Like that's just I'm done tiptoeing around it. Pete Carroll talks to the media about injuries, and he lies, and you just have to accept that he is always going to lie and tell you that everyone's much more healthy than they are. So I'm expecting Tony Jones to be the starter. I think we could see a decent amount of Wayne Gallman, who they signed to their practice squad, and you shouldn't be particularly excited about either of them. But I think you probably just take DJ Dallas and Kenneth Walker off the board at this point. I'm going with Pierce and Singletary out of this group.
I can't believe you've got to start 2 of these guys. I will go Pierce and Cook. I'm encouraged by what I saw from Cook last week. I think the Bills are trying to make their offense even more multidimensional than it is. One way to do that would be to involve the running backs even more in the passing game. Cook did that. Cook looked great as a rusher.
Mm-hmm.
This was against the Patriots. They've got one of the toughest defenses to run against in the league. Now they've got another tough matchup that they've got to break with the Jets. And I think that Cook is the guy that's the better option for that. I don't like his chances to score, which is kind of an issue when you talk about fantasy football. but I think he could still rack up 5 catches, total in the neighborhood of 50, 60 yards, get you to that 10-point threshold. I think Singletary, I feel like that's close to a ceiling. Dallas would get the nod for me over Cook if we knew he was playing. But we don't know if he's playing. And then we don't know what his role would be, even if he does play. Right now, I think we're careening toward Tony Jones and Travis Homer splitting the rushing workload, which means we're probably looking at a 35 pass attempt game for Geno Smith.
Hopefully.
Need a defense here. The Eagles going up against the Giants or the Raiders tonight against the Rams. And Matt points out that defenses against the Rams have been very productive lately. So what do you guys think?
Oh my gosh. It's not just lately. It's here. I'll tell you the numbers. It's basically been all year that defenses against the Rams have put up at least 10 PPR points. I'm going to give you the exact numbers, Frank, because I know that you like exact information, and I'm just buying time. Here we go. 10 or more fantasy points to 10 of 12 DSTs faced this year. Now, one of my cardinal rules of fantasy is don't start bad defenses.
Yeah.
And
Raiders have been a little better lately. They've been able to get a little bit of a pass rush lately.
Right. And they got Hobbs back at corner. And that's helped push back some of that inferior defensive back talent off the field a little bit. So I think that there's a chance that maybe the Raiders, we can't call them a good defense, but we could call them not bad.
You know what's amazing? There are 5 teams with a lower implied point total than the Rams right now for week 14.
Oh, gosh. That's gross.
They have a 17.75 implied total based on the Caesars odds. Houston is at 13.5.
Now, we said all that about the Raiders, and you're probably thinking, oh, that means Dave's going to say start the Raiders over the Eagles. I'd rather start the Eagles, and they're very good defense against Daniel Jones and the Giants.
Yeah, I think I'd still go with the Eagles.
All right, this one's from Lex. Should I drop J.K. Dobbins for Jameson Williams? I did pull up Ravens practice report. J.K. Dobbins is out there practicing once again, but he practiced last week and he wasn't active. So
right. They're taking it very slow with him. And I don't even know if he's going to be the same guy when he comes back. I think it depends on the makeup of your roster. If you're a little thin at receiver and you want to have depth there, I'd get Williams. Under any other circumstance, I'd rather just take the wait and see approach with Dobbins, but it might be wait and see for nothing. He might not just be the same guy that he once was.
I would say, generally speaking, and I wrote about this for the newsletter this week, when it comes to the playoffs, I'd rather preemptively stash running backs than wide receivers.
Yep.
You know, it's a lot easier to find a viable wide receiver on waivers than it is a running back when you really need one. So I'd rather be ahead of the curve on a running back than chasing a wide receiver when it's talking about strictly stashing.
This next one's from Dimitri, James Cook, Isaiah Pacheco, or Miles Sanders in full PPR.
Go with Miles Sanders.
Same.
From Brandon, full PPR, 1 wide receiver and 1 flex. We've got Pickens, DJ Chark, Corey Davis. So let's start there.
I think I have Corey Davis ranked highest.
I have Chark ranked highest.
And then a flex out of those wide receivers and Dameon Pierce.
Dameon Pierce.
I'm tempted to say Davis over Pierce. We've seen what Pierce looks like in matchups where the Texans fall behind against good defenses. And I'm a little nervous about that being the case this week.
Their implied total actually went down with around the time that Davis Mills was announced as the starter. I don't think it's because of that, but I think that tells you that's usually a pretty good tell of like when a team makes a QB change, how people feel is what the line moves. And there was either no movement or negative movement since the start of the week with Davis Mills. So
right.
Vegas not expecting an improvement in the Texans offense, which I think makes sense. We haven't seen much reason to believe that.
And Njoku is your tight end if he plays. If not, I think Ingram is probably a little bit safer than Hunter Henry.
Yep.
Next up is from Andrew. Half PPR need 2 of these. Jamal Williams, Deonta Foreman, Rashad White, and
Jeff Wilson.
Yeah, I guess that would make sense. If you guys can, in your questions, just try to include at least initial of first name or first name. That would help, obviously. So,
right, because we might not know which Foreman you're talking about.
Jamal Williams, Foreman,
I think
Rashad White, and Jeff Wilson. I just keep thinking Garrett Wilson. I think it's a Jets thing, but
Yeah, if it was Garrett Wilson, that'd be amazing.
Right.
Foreman's got to be in there, and I would put Jeff Wilson with him too.
I go Wilson, Foreman, White, Williams. They're all within 20 to 24 for me.
Next up, we got Cam Akers, Dameon Pierce, or Michael Carter in full PPR.
I've got Dameon Pierce.
I believe I do too.
All right, next up, we've got, this one's from Matt. What's going on, guys? Not much. Start 4 in standard scoring: Devin Singletary, Gus Edwards, Jeff Wilson Jr., Josh Palmer, Rashad White, Darius Slayton, Isaiah McKenzie. So quite a few names there. Need 4 in non-PPR.
Okay, Singletary, Wilson, White, and Palmer if Mike Williams is out, Slayton if Mike Williams plays.
I think I'd probably say Singletary, Wilson for sure. I think Singletary for sure. I like Slayton enough to put him on this list. I'm a little worried about Rashad White in standard scoring. So that'll probably be my pivot is Palmer if Williams is out, White if Williams is in.
This one's also from Matt. Start Mike White or Tyler Huntley, 4-point passing touchdowns for this week.
I'd rather start Mike White.
I have Tyler Huntley 1 spot higher.
I think in the 4-point passing touchdown, I would lean with Huntley as well because it's rushing, but it's pretty close.
Here's a fun stat for you. How many games has Lamar Jackson put up at least 20 fantasy points against the Steelers?
Oh, in his career?
Mm-hmm.
I guess he's probably played them 7 or 8 times. I would say twice.
He has as many as Chris Towers has against the Steelers in his career.
Interesting. What about Tyler Huntley, though?
Pittsburgh, Tyler Huntley has none as well. I'm just and Huntley's a lot like Lamar Jackson. I think the Steelers do a good job game planning for running quarterbacks in general, but especially the Ravens guys, Jackson, Huntley. You know, quarterbacks that can run well but not necessarily throw well.
This one's from Wiz Disney Dad. Need 2 RBs in PPR: Najee Harris, Jeff Wilson, Samaje Perine, or pick up Cam Akers.
I don't think you have to pick up Akers. Wilson and Harris are where I'd go. It looks like Mixon's going to play, so that's why no Perine.
Next up, full PPR: Jeff Wilson or Josh Palmer if Mike Williams is out.
I think it's just if Williams is out, you start Palmer. If not, I would go with Wilson.
Agreed.
From Adam, half PPR and 0.2 per rushing attempt. Running back is Ramondre Stevenson. Flex options: Jeff Wilson, Raheem Mostert, Dameon Pierce, or James Conner.
We're getting a lot of Jeff Wilson questions. People are unsure about this Dolphins offense. We should probably talk about the run game a little bit and why we like Jeff Wilson, especially over Mostert. And that's who I'd go with. I'd go with Wilson.
I'd go with Conner. I think
I didn't even see Conner.
Yeah,
yes,
that was my same thing, as I didn't really pick up on it because it was at the end, but Conner's a top 10 running back for me this week. He's the clear option here. But the Dolphins, I think it was so clear that Jeff Wilson was the lead back before last week. Last week was such a weird game. Tua Tagovailoa was so off. They only ran the ball, I think, 8 times total with their running backs. So I think that it was just last week was a weird week. So I'm assuming Jeff Wilson's going to go back to being 57% of the running back work, and that should make him a very good starter against a bad Chargers run defense. I mean, this has been arguably the worst run defense in football for 2 years running now.
They've been up there. They've been pretty bad. I think we have to give the Dolphins credit for only running it 8 times against the 49ers. That means the coaching staff was totally aware about how good that 49ers run defense was. And if they were, then they should be very aware of how bad the Chargers run defense is. And what a great bounce back opportunity for the offense in general against the Chargers, where they don't have to put it all on Tua's plate. They knew they had to do that against the 49ers, and Tua struggled. Now they can take the pressure off him. They've got 2 guys who can run the football. Wilson's been the more efficient runner on the ground, through the air, played more near the goal line ever since he got to Miami. So I don't have word from Mike McDaniel himself saying, yes, Jeff Wilson's our guy. It could very easily be Mostert. It could very easily be both of them, Frank. If their past 11 games, there's been 10 running backs who have had at least 10 non-PPR fantasy points against the Chargers. They just cannot stop the run.
Yep. So, all right. Way to break down the Dolphins backs here. Let's try and go a little bit faster here, get some questions in here. And we've got from Lansing, Corey Davis or DJ Chark in full PPR.
Chark for me.
Ooh, I think that's very close. I have Corey Davis literally one spot higher.
From Nick, half PPR. I assume that is Treylon Burks. I doubt he plays this week.
Yeah.
Deonta Foreman, Jerry Jeudy, or it's either Gabe or Corey Davis. So
doesn't even matter. He wouldn't be the pick.
Okay.
I'm going to take Foreman while also saying that there's some serious upside in Jeudy.
Yeah, I think I would go Foreman, Davis, Jeudy is how I would rank it.
Man, Akers or Travis Etienne. I also have Rashad White and Isaiah Pacheco, but they won't outscore them, I don't think. Full PPR. All right.
I mean, honestly, Rashad White has a chance. I would go Etienne, White, Pacheco, and Akers is very close. I do have Pacheco ranked a little higher, so Akers would actually be the bottom for me.
I will go with Etienne and Pacheco. I don't trust White sharing with Fournette.
Etienne, man, like they don't throw the ball to him at all.
Well, he's had 3 catches, I think, in
right. That's but I looked it up. He's 37th out of 54 running backs who've run at least 100 routes in yards per route or targets per route run, which is not. It's not like, he's not Jamal Williams, but in terms of what we thought he would be and how we thought they might use him, they really don't use him in the passing game very much. He runs routes. It's just they don't throw it to him.
Mm-hmm.
From Sydney, we have a tight end question here. George Kittle or Greg Dulcich?
I do have Greg Dulcich ranked higher than Kittle this week.
I'm not there yet, but give me the chance. I haven't had the chance to review Dulcich's game from last week or Brock Purdy's either.
I mean, I think it was like their first 3 throws went to Greg Dulcich and like 4 of the first 6. They made a real point of getting him involved
early on. But did they stick with him as the game went on, or was that just
what do you end up with? 6 for 85?
Right. So, I mean, I could look it up right now if you wanted me to tell you what he did in the first half or the second half. But to me, it's about him having steady production throughout the game.
Yeah.
If he didn't have that, then I don't know if we can take a lot away.
So they threw the first 3 passes to him and then 5 of the next 19 because they only threw 22 times total. So it was
he had 5 for 55 on 6 targets in the first half.
Yeah.
And he finished with how many for the game? It was only
6 for 85. Yeah,
so he had a 30-yard grab, and that was it in the second half. And they were chasing points in the second half. Ravens clearly did something to try and take him out of their game plan. I'm going to go with Kittle.
All right, from Angie, we've got Travis Etienne or Bam Knight, full PPR.
Etienne.
I believe I have Etienne just a little bit higher.
All right.
Literally back-to-back in my full PPR.
Also from Matt, should I start Marquise Brown, Damian Pierce, Bam Knight, or Deonta Foreman in half PPR?
Ooh.
Foreman.
I think I have Pierce ranked. I have Bam Knight ranked highest of this group.
I have Foreman the highest. Love the matchup. Love the opportunity for him. Especially like him coming off the bye, getting him a chance to charge up a little bit. He's got 100-yard potential, and it's half PPR, not full PPR, so that kind of hurts Knight's potential as well.
Yeah.
Browns.
Foreman did practice today.
That's good, yeah, because I saw he didn't practice yesterday. So
yeah, reporters knew that he was on track to play, so it didn't seem like it was that big of an issue.
We've got a quarterback question here. Wait on Trevor Lawrence's status, or pick up Derek Carr for tonight, or Ryan Tannehill potentially on Sunday?
I would just go with Carr tonight. I think Lawrence, I would have Lawrence ranked higher if he plays, but with the uncertainty and the fact that I have Tannehill pretty low, he's dealing with an ankle injury that has lingered and he aggravated it last week. I think he's going to play, but it's a little scary. No Treylon Burks. I would just go with Carr.
I'm going with Carr. 20 or more fantasy points in 5 straight.
Mm-hmm.
At least 30 passes attempted in each, multiple touchdowns in each. He's playing better.
10 straight. I think it's 9 straight touchdowns for Devonta Adams have been 25
deep, right?
or more yards.
Yeah.
Which is,
his
I think,
player prop
in the record.
his over-under for longest catch is 26.5 yards. Seems
I feel like he's
pretty
done that
safe
every
over.
week.
Yeah, last 5 games he has.
Yeah, Devontae Adams with like your second round pick was one of the cheat codes of this year. It turns out, I mean, he hasn't been quite as good as he was at his best with Green Bay, but they just throw the ball so much to him that it's worked out pretty well.
Derek Carr, by the way, which you guys have done a good job of highlighting, he's been super consistent. His last 5 weeks, he's finished between 9th and 15th at the quarterback position each of those 5 weeks. So maybe not super high upside, but very high floor. So
No, low-end starter. I mean, the biggest worry is not the matchup. It's will he throw enough?
Yeah.
Will he need to throw enough?
right. Yeah.
I'm going to say he will at worst be efficient on 24 pass attempts. At best, hang a big one on the Rams.
From Julio, Michael Gallup or George Pickens in non-PPR?
I would go Gallup. Just a better offense.
I don't know how much they're going to have to throw.
Oh, probably not very much.
Right.
17-point favorites.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to go Pickens. Not that I'm a big fan of it. I don't really like either one.
Yeah, they're both in the 40 range for me.
Yeah, I think both low and wide receiver 3s. I think I would lean with Pickens, but yeah, don't really love either. Ravens
would you start Mac Hollins over these guys?
I would not.
I have them ranked starting at 38. Hollins, Gallup, Corey Davis, DJ Chark, George Pickens.
I would start Chark ahead of them. I'd start Chark ahead of everybody we've named in the last 20 seconds.
And Ravens or Chiefs DST? Ravens against the Steelers, Chiefs going up against the Broncos.
I think I want the DST playing against Russell Wilson.
Yeah, I would go with the Chiefs.
I can't blame you. All right, we're 45 minutes in here. We'll be here for another 10 to 15 minutes. We have over 300 people watching live right now. Thank you for hanging out here on a Thursday afternoon. We only have 92 likes, so hit that.
Not enough likes. Come on, guys.
Once we get to 100 likes, we will give away a free month of Paramount Plus. We have a poll that is live right now. Favorite American action hero? John McClane from Die Hard, Indiana Jones, John Rambo, and Harry Callahan. Currently leading the vote is Indiana Jones. Going with Chris is there, 34% of the vote. And then John McClane just behind him, 30% of the vote. Let's jump in here, try and get to as many of these questions as we possibly can. And I'm looking for a new one that we haven't answered yet. This one's from Frederick. Full PPR. Gabe Davis, Zay Jones, DJ Chark, Pat Fryermuth. Pick one.
I think I have Zay Jones ranked highest of this group. Yep.
Should have had a big game last week, but boy, did he have butterfingers. A potential touchdown went right through his hands in the red zone. I'm not ready to race back to him. I believe Fryermuth is the one I've ranked the highest.
It's livid. Wow, this is a tough 6 teams on a bye, full PPR. New York Giants wide receivers, Isaiah Hodgins or Richie James. Going for complete upside because this is desperation play already.
Yeah, if you're going for complete upside, I think it's James, but I don't love saying it. I paid attention to these receivers this week. Hodgins is kind of like Galladay in a way. He's big, physical type. Not a burner at all. Pretty good route ran on his touchdown last week, but that's kind of what you're hoping for, is that he can come up with 6 targets, 5 catches, 60 yards. James has a much lower floor. He's got a little bit of a higher ceiling. I don't feel good about saying James, but that's probably who I'd pick.
I think I'd go with Hodgins, but it's a very small coin flip, like a half pence.
From Matt, half PPR, need 2 if Ken Walker does not play. Joe Mixon, Samaje Perine, Rashad White, and Najee Harris.
Oh, Mixon, easy is your first.
Yeah, Bengals
one.
running back. If there's some kind of setback, Bengals running back, and then Najee for me.
I think it's Najee for me, 2.5 PPR.
Okay, from Mark, Fields is on a bye. We're going with Tom Brady, Deshaun Watson, or Ryan Tannehill.
Brady.
Brady versus Watson is very close. I'm just going to put Brady ahead of Watson.
I think at this point we can't embrace Watson until we see him complete more than like 5 passes that look good. I watched a lot of that game on Sunday and then again during the week. Here are the positives. He threw 1 great throw, 27 yards downfield to Peoples-Jones, and he had 4 runs totaling 28 yards. He looked good there. But otherwise, boy, was he just everybody's saying it. It's true. He was rusty.
Yeah.
And not as prepared as you'd expect him to be, given all the time that he had to prepare for the game too.
And shout out to the Bengals defense, who he's going up against. They're playing really well right now.
Very well. That's a great point, Frank.
Yep. Tight end question here: Gerald Everett or Greg Dulcich in non-PPR?
I would go with Dulcich.
I believe I have Dulcich ranked higher.
From Jiggly, Chris Godwin or Damian Pierce as a flex?
Chris Godwin.
Yes. Now, he could have met Alex Pierce, but he would be on bye and might get as many points as Damian Pierce.
Yeah. Yeah. Would be a bad pick, I think, Alex Pierce.
From Dustin, non-PPR. Oh, doesn't matter for the quarterback question. Unless maybe it does. Tyler Huntley or Derek Carr, who's more likely to catch a pass?
You get a pass, bounce back at him, and then they catch it. I don't think that would probably help Huntley, but no, Carr's who you start.
All right, and then non-PPR receiver mess. Start 2 of these: Zay Jones, Juju, Mac Hollins, or DJ Chark.
Juju and Chark.
Yeah. No, Juju and Jones for me.
All right. Scrolling down because people are spamming the chat with the same questions over and over. Now I know how Adam feels, man. He does a good job with this. It's not as easy as it looks.
Zach Ertz had surgery to repair both his torn ACL and MCL. He just announced that's not great.
That does not sound very good. From Anthony, non-PPR need 2 wide receivers: Devontae Smith, DJ Chark, Isaiah McKenzie, and Josh Palmer.
It'd be Palmer and Smith, even if Williams plays for me.
If Williams plays, I'll put Chark in over Palmer.
Mm-hmm. And next up, we have from Christian, sit 1 in standard scoring: Tony Pollard, Travis Etienne, DeAndre Swift, Jamal Williams. Wow. Good problem to have.
It's a great problem to have. This is a team that can hang in the fantasy playoffs. Williams is my sit.
Oh, sit 1. Okay, yeah. Jamal Williams is the one you sit.
All right.
And then you freak out when he scores 2 touchdowns and DeAndre Swift doesn't get one.
I mean, Jamal Williams' season, this is one of the most interesting things I think we've seen in a while, man. It's not exactly like LeGarrette Blount when he scored.
That's the one I was thinking of,
20-plus touchdowns, because
Blount had some games.
Yeah, Blount had some like big rushing performances too. It's Jamal Williams under 50 yards, under 40 yards, but he's scoring 1-2 touchdowns per week. It's crazy.
How many touchdowns is he up to right now?
14, I think.
Leads all of football in rushing touchdowns.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's wild.
This one's from Gustavo. Cam Akers tonight or Jeff Wilson in full PPR?
Wilson over Akers. If he scored 14 touchdowns and touchdowns are worth 6 points in fantasy, that means 52% of his overall total in half PPR has come solely from his touchdown.
Oh, yeah. He's actually only like 8 yards behind LeGarrette Blount per game right now, though. It's very similar seasons. He's just not getting as many carries.
Okay.
This is from DEH Woodman. Half PPR, someone dropped Zay Jones. Should I drop Chase Claypool for him?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, the Chase Claypool thing is weird because the Bears traded for him, but he's not playing a full complement of snaps. Darnell Mooney's out for the season, so you think
it's really hard to do that midseason as a wide receiver. Like that's one thing that I can't think of many situations where wide receivers get traded midseason and make a real impact. It's really hard.
I can summarize this for you. The Bears made a mistake.
Yeah.
And I feel like they made the mistake because they heard that the Packers were going to trade for Claypool. And they decided, you know what? We don't want him going to the enemy. We want him. And now they got him this year and next year for a second-round pick. It's just stunning to think about who they could have drafted in the second round this past year and had instead, or who they could get in the second round this coming April and have instead of Claypool. And he might not even be the best receiver on their team right now with Mooney on IR.
Yeah. He looks the part so much that it's easy to talk yourself into it, but wasn't that productive in college, hasn't been that productive in the pros. It's,
guys like that all the time come out of college and they look like they're going to be awesome. And then in the pros, they're just not.
All right. So we got about 5 minutes left. Let's go rapid fire here. See how many we can get to. From Judy or Juddy. PPR. Should I pick up and start Tyler Boyd, Robert Woods, Mac Hollins, or Isaiah McKenzie?
I would just go with Mac Hollins here.
Same.
From KG. All right. We got some Santa emojis in here. Damian Pierce or Rashad White in full PPR?
White.
I have Dameon Pierce just ahead of him.
In full PPR, I'll break the tie. I will go with Rachaad White. From Jesse, 7-6. Need a win to stay alive. Rachaad White at San Francisco or James Cook in non-PPR.
I would go with White here.
I'd go with White here too. When he says stay alive, does that mean in his fantasy league or does that mean in life?
I hope it's just for his fantasy league.
Okay.
I mean, you never know with some of these leagues, Dave. Some crazy stuff going on.
You got these guillotine leagues
Those
out
are
there.
some serious leagues, right?
Jeez. This one's from Thomas. Half PPR, Najee Harris, Cam Akers, Adam Thielen, or Mike Williams if he plays.
Oh, I'm gonna start Williams if he plays for
Yeah.
this group. If he doesn't play,
Najee.
I think so. I think that's the best answer. Don't love it. Ravens are so good against the run.
Yes, they have been. We did get over 100 likes, so if you are still watching us live, drop your Twitter handle in there, and we'll hit you up. The Shafy boy will hit you up. So do that. Drop your handle, and we'll give out.
Did you just call him Shafy boy?
Shafy boy. I don't know where that came from, but he is now Shafy boy. So that's what we're going with. We'll get you a free month of Paramount Plus. If you're watching, please continue.
New name.
We appreciate it. All right, next up we've got from David. Start order in full PPR. Amari Cooper on the road and with Deshaun Watson as his quarterback. I love that that's like a contingency now. Zay Jones, Josh Palmer, and Miles Sanders. All right, pretty good ones here. Cooper, Zay Jones, Josh Palmer, Miles Sanders. Order.
I would go Sanders, Cooper, Palmer, Jones.
I almost feel like you have to say Cooper over Sanders because he's going to catch more passes than Sanders. But I like the matchup for Sanders. I think he can score. So I'm taking Sanders over Cooper. The home road thing mystifies me. I don't know what's up with that.
That's one where I don't know what to make of it. But
Right.
it's not even just a Cleveland thing. For his career, going back to
his
Oakland,
career.
Yep.
He's been much better. I think it's a sleep thing. That's my theory. He needs to get on that Dak Prescott. He needs to get that Dak Prescott sleep number bed.
Yeah, I think there's
Can't take it with him on the road.
the career splits. I think it's a 4 PPR point difference, home versus
No,
road.
it's like 30%. It's massive.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Makes me want to like interview him and see what's up.
From-
Roethlisberger used to have the same thing.
Yeah. This was from Sustained Success. Need a win for the playoffs. Pick 2 running backs and a flex in PPR. Isaiah Pacheco, Latavius Murray, Rachaad White, Darius Slayton, Donovan Peoples-Jones, and Brandon Ayuk.
Ooh, okay, 2 running backs. We'll start with Rachaad White, and I think I have Isaiah Pacheco behind Latavius Murray. So Rachaad White and Latavius Murray. And then I would go with... I think I would go with Donovan Peoples-Jones ahead of Brandon Ayuk.
White, Pacheco, Ayuk for me.
All right, next up, we've got in full PPR, Rachaad White or Bam Knight.
Noticing a lot of Rachaad White questions.
Yep.
I'll go with Knight.
I would go with Knight here as well.
Yeah, I think rightfully so on the Rachaad White questions. He was outsnapped by Leonard Fournette last week.
Yes, he was. And he played. He was saved by that touchdown, Frank.
Yep.
If he hadn't scored that touchdown, I don't think there'd be any Rachaad White questions this week.
From Grizzly G, Dameon Pierce or Najee Harris in full PPR?
I would go with Najee.
I think I'd go with Najee as well.
Start Cam Akers or Deonta Foreman?
Foreman.
Yes.
Let's see what other questions we've got. Scrolling down to the latest ones. Where's Adam when you need him? I think I've done an all right job. Be nice in the comments, by the way. Last time I hosted one of these, people were crushing me. Where's Adam? I get it. He's really good at his
Look,
job.
Adam doesn't want to be here. I don't know where Adam is.
That's right. Adam has failed you guys.
He's abandoned you.
Your moment of need has come, and Adam is probably like cleaning his house.
Trying to get rid of those the roaches that are
cockroaches. Yes.
Do I bench Dameon Pierce for Bam Knight?
Yes.
All right, let's get a few more in here. Donovan Peoples-Jones or DJ Chark in full PPR?
Chark.
Peoples-Jones for me.
I'm surprised we haven't gotten any DJ Moore questions today. Full PPR, DJ Moore or Josh Palmer?
I would go with Palmer even if Williams plays.
I will go with Moore even if Williams plays or doesn't play.
let's get. Well, I've seen this question a few times. Hi, guys. Need your help. Should I play the Raiders D this week tonight against the Rams or pick up the Bengals going up against Deshaun Watson and the Browns?
I would go with the Bengals. But let me just see what they're because you got the Browns, Bucks, Patriots the next 3 weeks. I think you just stick with the Bengals for the next 3 weeks.
The Browns have held opposing defenses to 9 or fewer fantasy points in 4 of their past 5 games. Yes, that includes Houston last week. I'm going to take the Raiders.
But does that include the DST touch or the special teams touchdown? I guess would be the only one that they would.
Well, no, this
right?
is scores. This is scores against the Browns.
Yeah. That's what I mean. The Browns had, or no, I guess.
No,
didn't the Texans have a DST touchdown?
No. Browns had them all.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Dude, I started the Browns in one league last week. They gave me 30 points. This is reason I won the matchup. It was
great.
Awesome. You earned it.
Last question here. Jerry Jeudy or Bam Knight in half PPR?
I would go with Bam Knight.
I think I'm going to go with Jeudy.
I am going to break the tie, and I'm going to go with, no surprise, Bam Knight. Let's go, Jets. For those who are for just checking in here, you might notice I'm wearing a ugly Christmas sweater here.
That is not an ugly Christmas sweater.
You're right.
I don't think it's ugly.
Sweater. It came in the mail today. That is a true story, and I threw it on because I knew Dave Richard would be on this live stream. I know that Dave used to be, maybe potentially still is, a huge wrestling fan. Dave, can we wrap up with like your best Macho Man impersonation?
No,
that's not gonna happen. All right, well, I tried. For those watching us live, no Macho Man for you. I'll give it to you. The cream always rises to the top. The cream. It's my Macho Man. I love that promo. One of my favorite ever. We're gonna wrap there. Thank you everyone for hanging out for the past hour or so. Thursday Night Football tonight. We get the Rams going up against the Raiders. For Chris and Dave, I am Frank. Thank you all for listening and watching. Well, not listening, just watching this live stream edition of Fantasy Football today.
Aren't they watching and listening?
Yeah, I guess they probably are. I will not be back.
Frank, I don't know if that outro was good enough, man. You should try that one again. Yeah.
Ooh. For Chris and Dave, I am Frankie Boy. We'll be back again on Sunday morning. Chris and I will to answer your start sit questions. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.